What is up, everybody? It's Joe from JLB Games coming at you with another cool video back in Planet Coaster with our recreation of Silver Dollar City. Now, this episode, there was a lot of stopping and looking at reference photos. So, just like the last one, we don't get a tremendous amount done, but we're taking baby steps at a time in each and every episode. Each and every episode has over an hour of recording time, so of course it's time-lapse down to about 15-ish minutes each time, but that is it. So for this building over here, this is actually the bakery at the entrance of the park that is next to the rentals booth, and in between the rentals booth and the hospitality house. And it was kind of a difficult one to do because I don't have any great reference photos of it. And when I go to next time at the park, I am going to need to take some better reference photos, like from very close up, to figure out how it is. So I didn't complete this building. I kind of just got it a little bit started. That way, when I actually get a really good reference photo of it and stuff, this is mostly a placeholder to kind of give an idea of where it's going to be, and most of it probably will stay as is. So anyways, again, this is not all 100% accurate, and I'm going to do my best to change things as I go along to make it a little bit more accurate. So like this wall here, I think it's a little bit more slanted compared to the actual wall itself. It actually has a little bit more of a slant with the roof, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of a weird building in a way, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to maneuver it as well or perfectly in this game. Now there's also a little chimney area, this chimney spot that has like a slanted wall that I don't believe I'm going to be able to do, so I kind of just made a flat area and then put one of the chimneys on top of it, which actually still looks pretty decent. And again, this bakery has some really good good stuff inside it, actually, like cinnamon rolls and all that stuff, and it's so delicious. I actually really enjoy it, and if you have a chance, make sure you visit this. If you go to Silver Dollar City, visit one of the bakeries and get some like cinnamon rolls or cinnamon bread or something like that, because they're actually very, very good. And I'm probably gonna put a food stall in there somehow. Even though there's not really a food stall that would fit into there, I'd probably just put something like a Tiki Chiki Chief Beef or something ridiculous in there that wouldn't make sense. But it's the bakery, so there's not much more I could do. But I do want to make sure guests can actually access that. And there's also like a little dining area on the outside with like some tables and chairs and stuff, which I couldn't really figure out how they, or get a great view of how they look in the photo. So next time I go to SDC, definitely going to get some reference photos of this building right here, because it was one of the more tougher buildings that I couldn't really see much of. So I'm kind of just kind of spitballing of what I do kind of see, or the best I can see it. So it's actually a lot closer to the rentals booth than I actually made it here, just by a smidge. But I do think I make the pathway just a tad bit long. So the pathway going up to the hospitality house is a little bit longer than what it is, but that's okay. It's not like that far off. It's probably when I say it's a little bit longer, it's like by feet probably and stuff like that, so it's not a huge deal. And anyways, I've been trying to look off and on kind of the size of the map area that we have, and I'm trying to make the determination if I'm going to be able to fit the entire park in this actual area, and it's kind of a difficult thing. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit the whole thing, to be honest, and we're just gonna have to see as we go. And if that's the case, I just might make, like a part 2 of it in like its own area. So like the park would have 2 parts, and by what I mean by that is not all the park would be in one map. I would actually have to divide it into 2 maps. And there's also like a ticket booth over here, so I just put like a ticket booth entrance. That's all, because I still have to get a reference photo of that building as well. And since I don't have any good reference photos of those buildings at the current given time, I decided to go ahead and work a little bit on the hospitality house area, because I had some decent reference photos of it, and I know it's kind of that building a little bit better. Of course, it's probably going to change just a smidge itself in the end, but yeah. So what I was trying to figure out here is there's kind of like these rocky curbs on the sides. I still haven't figured out how I'm going to do those, so I was like, maybe I'll try some rock work, and I was like, that's not going to work very well, and the walls just look too blocky, so I don't think those are going to work very well either. So I'm trying to figure out a good object that will work well with that, because it also has to be able to slant downwards, because it is kind of on a hill there and stuff like that. So as for the signs that don't fit everything, of course I know I'm gonna have to put a second sign that one says hospitality, one says house, but for the current purposes I'm just gonna leave it as is until I get around to that. So anyways, as you can see, here's me looking at more reference photos, just kind of standing still. This is gonna happen a lot in this series, so just be prepared for that, for very slow paced time lapses here, where I do a lot of looking around trying to get a feel for the area around me and stuff like that. So this hospitality house is actually going to be connected, is actually the entrance of the cave, and also where the cave exits too, because there's kind of like this transport ride at the end of the cave that gets you back to this building. And it's something I think I will be able to make. I'll have to probably use like the steam train or something, but it will actually work quite well, because it does take you out of the cave and back up to the hospitality house. And we'll see how that goes. But for the entrance of Marvel Cave, which I might actually get started in the next episode, we might be start building the cave in the next episode, if that's a thing. Now the cave is probably not going to be 100% accurate, but I'm going to try and do my best to get the cave in, at least in the park. It's not going to be a ride in itself. It's going to be a pathway leading down there, and actually a pathway where guests can just go into. That's how I'm going to be able to do it, is just making a pathway there that goes down to the entrance of the cave. Now I don't know if I could like place maybe another ticket stall to enter that cave, and that way guests would have to like pay for it. I don't know if that would actually work or not, but again, I do want to make the cave. It is something that I can do because it's underground, and something that I think is very actually doable here in Planet Coaster, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I hope that the terrain builder will allow me to go that low underground. If not, I'll just go as low as possible. So we're already elevated off the ground a little bit here, so I don't know. It's going to be going under the pathway and everything, and I need to have it lead back over to the other side of the park, and have the lift transport ride over there that will lead you back to the hospitality house, and that's how that is going to work. So I think it will all work in the end, at least that's what I'm hoping. And here at the hospitality house, I'm not gonna have any actual stalls, I don't think, because there's not really any stalls to buy the items. I might try to do my best to buy or put some like props and items in there to make it look like it's actually a shopping building or facility. And then here I decided, there's a lot of trees right at this spot, so I'm going to start placing a lot of trees. And if you know Silver Dollar City, there is a lot of trees. So that is one reason why I enjoy this park so much, because you know how much I love trees and the environment. So I think it works quite nicely. And I just like bombarded this section with trees. I didn't go too far down because of that little booth there, because I don't know how large that's going to be. But anyways, with the hospitality house, I get a lot done with it, and there's still a bit of detailing to do. It mostly has just kind of like the layout of the hospitality house, and there's also this little covered spot right here, right before you enter on the other side of the hospitality house, that has a lot of like wall climbers type things, like vines and stuff hanging off of it, so you don't really see the top very well. So I figured the metal like building is kind of what it looked like, and there was like these posts. I don't know, I'll probably be changing the wooden posts, because it's probably not as accurate as the real thing, and I don't think they're like that completely, but once I get better reference photos, some stuff will change. And again, this is all layout and stuff like that that actually works out pretty well. So I'm very excited for the next episode, especially if I do get into the cave. And I might get a little bit into the entrance area as well, which I kind of tried to do here, but it doesn't work out the greatest, because I do end up trying something and then deleting something. Like I'm trying to get around to the gazebo area and that little spot right there, but I'm trying to get all the paths as accurate as possible. There's also like these little planter areas that I figured out a little bit better idea of how they're going to work, but once we get to that, we'll get to that. So anyways, right now we're still in the hospitality house and stuff like that. So as for roller coasters, a lot of people have been asking, when are you going to start building the roller coasters in this park? And I'm like, well, when we get to that area. So the first coaster that probably gets to get built first in this park is most likely Thunderation, probably because I feel like that is the closest coaster to the park entrance. And it's actually going to be a very difficult ride, the way I'm going to be actually building it, because I'm going to have custom supports on it, because it does have wooden supports. It's an aerodynamic track with wooden supports. So I could use the mine train. I'm still trying to debate whether I'm going to use the mine train or the aerodynamics. It would have the incorrect cars, but I feel like the track would look more accurate and stuff like that, and it would be easier to do custom supporting for. Now, this is the part of the building, the hospitality house, that has more of the shops to it, and it's actually where the lift or the transport ride gets back from the cave. So the cave ends on the other side over here. It starts on one side, ends on the other side, and the transport ride gets you back to the other side of the hospitality house, if that makes sense. So this building, I think I actually got pretty accurate. There's a little bit more of or less of a gap from this building to the bakery, so I'm not sure if the bakery I've made is too small, or just if I've made this pathway just a little bit too long, but that's about it. Anyways, there was also like grass and scenery and stuff around this spot, so I thought I'd try it out, because there's like flowers and kind of like some props that are actually in game perfectly able to put right here, because there's like a barrel on its side right here, and then there was also like this little wheel leaning up against this building, which actually looked remarkably, very similar to the in-game wheel right here. So I was very surprised by that, and it's just covered by like grass and plants and bushes and stuff over there, which is actually added a lot of cool effect to it, and I thought it looked pretty nice in the end over there. So we're adding details slowly but surely, and it will hopefully look like Silver Dollar City very soon, because it is doesn't look completely like it yet, but in the future I'm sure it will. So because the terraforming isn't all completely done and all that jazz. So here at this point, this sign actually was very close to looking like the hospitality house sign right there, so I decided to put that in there. Of course, I'm probably going to have to separate it with a second sign eventually, but for right now, it's just going to have the one sign. So anyways, I do try to get in some pathwork at the very entrance towards the end here, and figure out how that's going to go, but I actually know this spot really well. This is actually towards the entrance of the Marvel Cave, so I'm going to probably reconstruct that a little bit, because I do kind of block it off. And this door over here leads actually to the attractions office, and that's one actually area that guests wouldn't know that I know, so so that's kind of neat. And that's actually where all the supervisors and offices are for the employees and stuff like that. So that's where that door actually leads to, and so don't go to Silver Dollar City and enter that area, because that's not where you're supposed to be. I mean, they'd probably kick you out instantly. I mean, guests have been in that area, but I'm gonna stop right there. Anyways, here at the end, we do try to do a little bit of path work for the front entrance. I wanted to try and get into the gazebo area and stuff like that, but this is where I started to get a little bit scared that I wouldn't have a lot of room left for the park in general, because I feel like I took up way too much space here at the square, but hopefully that's is just going to be at this point. And the path texture kind of changes into this lighter pathway right here, so I want to try and be as accurate as possible and keep that all true, because there is like the restaurant over here to the right, and there's actually the taffy shop as well over to the left of the entrance. So, and then of course you got the gazebo and stage area over here in the middle that will serve as that. And there was a slight curve at the very end, or part right there, so I decided to make that as well. So this is the part where I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to do this, because there was a planter and I figured out a better way to do this in the end. So this does end up getting deleted because I was like, that's too blocky, it's just way too blocky, so I do end up deleting that. But anyways, that's about all I get done in this episode, so I hope you guys enjoyed. When we get back, we might possibly get into building or working on the Marvel Cave, so that'll be really fun, and I think it'll actually be the first exciting episode to date. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and be sure to subscribe if you want to keep watching this series. So I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day and even cooler tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.